This is not a Big Brother recap. Just want to let everybody know. We're here to talk about the news.
The news.
We're here to talk about the news.
The news.
Yes, unless Danny wants to give us his Big Brother takes.
I see snippets, and then
yeah, what'd you see?
Don't read into them, and so I has maybe I know 0.05% of what's going on.
That's exciting.
I can picture the guy's face.
What guy's face?
Yeah, what guy?
I don't know his name.
There's a Big Brother guy.
There was an article about someone doubling or teaming up with someone in a vote or eliminate. I don't know. Shit. Why are you asking me?
Joe? Yeah.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me about Big Brother. Maybe one day I'll surprise you with just deep knowledge. So deep.
Yeah. On the one hand, I think it would be Danny would like being the Big Brother experience. And on the other hand, I feel like there's too many people around.
Too many in the same. I mean, my in-laws were here. That was like Big Brother.
Yeah, I guess.
In-law edition.
All right, but that's it. That's the end of just one of this is not Big Brother. Okay.
No, it's not.
But here. So happy to have everybody who's popping in to join us live to talk about the top stories for the week on News AF. All right. You guys ready to turn this thing on? Go live? Or I guess we're already live. We're gonna start. You're watching a podcast be recorded. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And Tyson's got his coffee with cold coconut milk.
Do you like that stir?
I do. I like it.
If you guys need me to do that throughout the podcast, just let me know, okay?
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Hey, everybody. What's going on? I'm Rob Sesternino, back again to talk with you about the week's most interesting news stories for the week of August 18th, 2020, here on News AF.
Story is buzzing like it's on crystal meth. It's about to be News AF. If the same old news makes you bored to death, it's time for some News AF. Actual, factual news.
Yeah, that's right. We are back here with the actual, factual news team to talk about the great stories submitted to us by our listeners here every single week here on News AF. And here to talk about it with us here is one part of our team. His coffee is several parts coffee and one part cold coconut milk. Please welcome great Instagram influencer, Tyson Apostle. Tyson, how are you?
I'm awesome. How did you like that stir build up to my coffee?
Was that dope?
Yeah,
stirring.
That was cool.
Yeah,
I was stirring my coffee.
And it was stirring.
Correct. So here it is.
News AF mug. There's Tyson Apostle.
Things are great. This week is I can show this mug. Things are going good. We have Bergen in kindergarten remote learning, which, I mean, I know all the kindergarten stuff. I could test out of kindergarten pretty easily myself without probably doing any studying.
Very little.
But it's a chore finding where all these assignments are, because they could just centralize everything into one thing, but they choose to just scatter it all over the internet. And so that's been cool, is going on the scavenger hunt of the internet to find the assignments without bumping into pornography.
Tyson, I saw that you had a interesting moment on the first day of virtual kindergarten that you shared.
That wasn't the first day.
Oh, that wasn't?
We're already 2 weeks in.
2 weeks in.
Yeah. So this was, they do every morning, they do a call with the whole class. And then at the end, it's only a half hour. The teacher, there's 20 students, and they get in there and talk. And then at the end, they have everybody on mute. And then at the end, they're like, okay, we're going to turn everybody off mute so you can all say bye and all this stuff. Madness. And so they turn everybody off. Oh, no, they said they turn everybody off mute and everybody says bye. And then the teacher says, before we go, does anybody have any last questions? And a kid just out of the blue yells, who made God?
It's a good question.
It's a great question, dude. And I was like, this is so awesome. And this is the second time this kid's piped up about God in the question and answer section, or the question section, because Rachel was doing it one time and he said something else about how God created everybody and everything. And the teacher was like, okay, then, yeah, we have to. Yeah. So the teacher's funny. The teacher this time was just like, That's a really great question. It's a great question to discuss with your family at home by yourselves. So it was pretty good.
Yeah. And here's the man with all the answers about who created God is also Danny Bryson. Danny, how are you?
Pretty good. Still alive, much to your guys' disgust.
Chagrin. Dude, no.
Why do you feel like you wanted you to die?
Really felt like you guys wanted me to die.
But it was
so
for
you'd have like
it would have been so good for the podcast though, just like because then your value goes up in your everything you've created.
Die at my peak when I'm peaking.
Yeah.
And then everybody goes back to the backlog. Although we would have had to piece you together with sound bites, which we could have done.
Well, look, I tried my best. I wore a shirt made out of nothing but Slim Jims. I bathed every night in bacon grease.
Delicious.
And I couldn't do it. It just didn't attract any bears to me. They were happy with the blueberries.
Yeah. Wait, Tyson, that if Danny died, we would have acted like he didn't die? I mean, what people would have tuned in every week to hear some sort of like Danny ghost on the podcast?
Yeah, we would have advertised as Beyond the Grave and created some type of hologram system. But yeah, I think in general, we would have just pushed forward with little remorse.
Well, I didn't. Sorry to disappoint.
How was the trip, Danny? I know you were taking you were flying up to Alaska to go on a bike ride with your entourage.
Through
Denali National Park.
Or Christoph.
Yeah, or you're like the turtle in somebody else's entourage.
Are you the leader of the entourage or are you turds?
Oh, no. You know what? The leadership changes depending on who plans the trip, and I did not plan this trip, so I was just along for the ride. We saw 8 grizzly bears.
No, you didn't.
We did.
Because
8
I
grizzly bears.
texted you to ask if you'd seen any nature, and then I got just no response
Nothing
at
back.
all.
You want to know why? Because Alaska doesn't serve T-Mobile very well. Let's just say that my reception, every time I'd come into service, I get the same text messages from everybody again, even though I had read them. It was just a nightmare.
No, I sent mine a bunch of times. Did you see any nature?
I saw it, and I did. I just didn't want to write back because I had never had reception, and I hate watching that line hit the 90% mark, which is totally a lie. It should never have started, and it just sits there and hangs there and frustrates me. So I'm like, screw this. I can't live with the anxiety of the blue line. Anyway, 8 grizzly bears, potentially 2 wolves.
Potentially 2 wolves?
Yeah, so we filmed the wolves that we saw. They were chasing a herd of caribou or a group of caribou. And we weren't 100% sure. We showed it to some park people, and they thought they were wolves. Some people didn't think. So we never got a solid response.
What else would they be?
Coyotes, giant coyotes.
Okay.
We saw a bunch of caribou. We saw huge Alaskan moose, which if you've never seen an Alaskan moose, it'll take your breath away.
Nobody tagged me in a photo of an Alaskan moose.
It's like a dinosaur era type animal. Just the antlers are huge. It's got the body of a horse, basically. And
like super sexy. Is that what you mean by body of a horse? What do you mean by that?
Like the size of a horse.
Oh, okay.
Like the body is the size of the horse. Horse body.
Yeah. Wow.
Horse body. Wow. Yeah, that is cool.
Breathtaking.
Breathtaking.
And you were like, I don't want to tag nature with Tyson in any of
I
this.
didn't post anything. I have so much. It was like content overload. I just shut down. I think I posted 1 picture of the whole thing.
You just locked down. It was just too much for you to handle. You were just like,
I don't even know what to do. But yeah, we saw tons of cool stuff.
Virtual jizz everywhere. And you just were I
don't want to clean up this mess. And then we flew around Denali in a plane. The tallest mountain in North America. And then we did a run out to a glacier, went into a little glacier cave, crossed the Glacial River.
That. Yeah, Matt and Christoph both had reception apparently.
Yeah, because they don't have T-Mobile. And then we did a huge run to a high mountain the next day, and then we flew home. So it was nonstop fun. We did find an abandoned backpack. So we climbed to this mountain. We got to the top, and there was a peak higher, just a little bit further away. And everybody at the top of the peak we were currently on were like, oh, yeah, you can't make it over there. You need rock climbing gear. So me and Matt decided to go. Yeah, challenge accepted, buddy. So we went and we started to go to it. And about halfway to the other peak, and it was challenging, we found an abandoned backpack with coats in it, about 30 granola bars. It was kind of disconcerting. Nobody around. There was nobody. We summited
was
the
a trap.
mountain.
What was the
Yeah.
expiration date on the bars and stuff?
Well, I don't think it. So there was a roll of toilet paper that was soggy. So it obviously been there at least overnight or the past week. But it wasn't to the point where they had bread in there. They had it blew my mind how much stuff people hike with. They had almost an entire loaf of bread in there, and it was only beginning to be moldy. So it hadn't been there for very long.
Wow.
Yeah,
Danny, you're like a
were the
forensic
people?
scientist.
Yeah, so we looked all over, expecting to find a body, but hopefully they just abandoned that overweight backpack because it weighed a ton. I would have abandoned it too. So yeah, there's a mystery still up there on that mountain, but it was cool. Alaska's cool.
You didn't take anything from the backpack, but you did open it and rummage through it.
We tried to find an ID in the hopes of somehow solving the
Hero
mystery
riddle.
of the riddle of the abandoned backpack. So
Well, sounds like that's one for the Hardy Boys.
yeah, the Hardy Boys can go solve it.
Do you
They've
have a
got really
name
hard
for
clues.
the Christoph group that you go on these adventures with?
No, but an AF listener did comment on my only picture that I posted. He asked me if we slept in one tent or three.
Yes. And
We did sleep in 3 separate tents.
3 separate tents. Okay.
but let me tell you a story, Rob.
Yeah.
Because Danny says 3 men, 3 tents. That's the rules. We did a backpacking trip through
Yep.
Yellowstone. 3 men, 3 grown men, me, Danny, and another friend named Sean. And did we all bring our own tents though?
No, we slept in one tent.
No, we did sleep in one tent, but I think, did we have a tent for each of us? Like, did I bring a tent and then we just left them in the car because we were like, it's too scary out there to not sleep with each other?
Could be. That could.
I
be
don't
what
remember.
exactly
How scary
happened.
was it?
Oh,
We were
it was-
hearing bears like walking around at night, dude.
It was scary. So in Yellowstone, they have these little things you hang your food on, right? And the last night we go to camp next to this giant lake, and we have to walk through this thick brush down to the shore of the lake. And then we go to the campground, and they have this between 2 trees. They have a log, and you're supposed to throw a rope over it, tie the food on, and pull the food up so the bears can't get it. On the side of the trees that hold the log that go across, there are the biggest freaking, like several velociraptors had tried to get at the food. It was like giant claw marks from some incredibly hungry grizzly bear. And let's just say that I didn't sleep at all that night.
Yeah, we laid awake listening, and Danny was like, I heard it. Should we go out there right now with flashlights and look at it? And I was like, I don't think so. Because the tent is like putting covers over your head as a little kid. It's pretty much impenetrable. Even though I think you had a gun out, Danny, and I had some bear spray, and we just slept with those.
1-2 punch. Spray with the spray.
Duck,
and
shoot.
spray with the gun.
Mhm.
Yeah. I still don't understand why that. I think the gun should have gone in front.
No, because the odds of me hitting something with the gun in that moment are pretty
Yeah,
low.
you got to stun them, and then
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
but Danny was
probably.
having me walk in front, and then he's
course.
like, "You drop to your knees." And
No, I
bear
never. This was
spray,
not our. We
and
did
then
not
I
come up
shoot
with some
over your
practical
head.
solution. No, that's so not true.
So-
That is not what we discussed.
But when we all 3 men, we slept in a 2-person tent, and so there was no, like, we took up the entire footprint of that tent, just us 3. But we each had our own sleeping bag, and I did actually get some sleep in. We slept head to foot to head.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it
Mm-hmm.
on
That's
the
pretty
diagram.
In a sleeping bag, because you do not want on the tent diagrams, that's how you fit the most people. That is true. But also, if it was just regular bed covers and you were with 3 dudes, you would not want to do head, foot, head, because you don't want somebody's naked feet right there.
Yeah, and that is a nightmare. Someone puts a foot in your mouth somehow.
Yeah. So the
Like,
barrier.
am I still asleep? I hope I'm asleep. I hope this is a nightmare. And then that big salty taste comes through, and you're like, this can't be a dream. I'm tasting salt.
Yeah. The 3rd guy we went with, his wife was texting me nonstop not to let him die. She's just like,
Yeah.
do not let Sean die. Please do not let Sean die. And I was like, well,
Sacrifice Danny.
it's up
if
to
needs
God.
be.
Yeah.
yeah. What a great wife.
That
Uh-huh.
is, she cares.
Yeah, she did. My wife did not.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of our top stories. We're talking about loving relationships.
Wait.
Yeah.
There's somebody in the chat that says, as Jerry Seinfeld says, the genitals still line up. It's not about lining up the genitals when you're sleeping head to foot to head. It's about looking
I don't think
someone
that's a
right in
fact
their
also.
face.
Yeah.
Depends on height, I guess.
It does depend on height, but it's about more like me turning over and then bumping noses with Danny on accident. That's
How
what
cute.
it's. Yeah, it's cute, but also it's like, is my teeth brushed? I don't know. Is he offended by my odor right now, or does he want a kiss? I can't tell what he wants. And
Awkward.
then it's awkward all night. We don't get any sleep. Meanwhile, Danny's fully torn.
No.
Don't even
Let's move
get the
on.
thought out.
Let's move on, Rob. Tyson's spiraling. We got to catch this curly.
Okay.
Who knows where it'll lead?
All right. So we're talking about the difficulties in finding a great match, and it is hard for millennials and Gen Z because a new study reveals that Gen Z and millennials, there is one thing that they could be doing, or in this case, not doing, that's an instant deal breaker. This is from a survey from Declutter, an online marketplace for selling unwanted CDs, DVDs, games, books, and tech items. Got to get on there and get rid of a bunch of stuff around my house. But
Yeah.
so they have done a survey, and it turns out that 47% of millennials and Gen Z people, they don't want to date you if you don't recycle.
Recycle theater.
What a deal breaker.
Let me tell you guys something. Those recycle bins go to the landfill, just like
Let me tell you how it happened for most all recycling up until recently. You would sort it out, then it would all get put back together, shipped to China, and buried somewhere in China.
painstakingly.
So when I
out.
say recycling theater, I mean like you just did it for show. It's like, oh, I really care. And then someone on the back end's like, we don't care at all. Chuck it all on the barge.
Yeah, this
ship
is
it. Half of it
cheapest.
will fall off across the ocean.
Yeah.
Then just put it in a pit in China.
Danny's dropping some truth bombs today. Now, Danny, is this verifiable fact?
This is verifiable.
Or is this
China stopped.
supposition?
However, no, this is verifiable fact. China, however, stopped accepting our recycling recently. So now even less of your recycling is making it to a recycling processing plant.
It's going to build that garbage island in the Pacific.
Yeah, it's going to build that island for Waterworld, future Waterworld. But not all recycling goes. Some of it does get recycled. Some of it does get reused. But a huge amount of it is just buried in the ground.
Okay, so this is a small sample size that they only talked to 1,332 people. 47% of young Americans would not want to be in a romantic relationship with somebody who doesn't recycle. And 45% said they wouldn't date someone who used an excessive amount of single-use plastic. To me, that this just feels like that we are really cutting out like a wide section of the dating pool, Tyson. It almost is the opposite of the mentality that you would have with recycling.
Yeah. Is this natural selection now where everybody who doesn't have recycling in their DNA is just automatically going to get bred out of the ecosystem? And it's just, wow. I don't know. I feel like also like
maybe some of these people could change.
Yeah, maybe you could marry them.
Yeah, but this is
Why
one of those
maybe?
things. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm going to do a survey, Rob, and you just answer the questions correctly. Are you a serial killer? Yes or no? You're putting no every time, no matter what you are. Yeah. And
But
I believe that you are
secretly-
not a serial killer, but
Yeah.
a serial killer, if you ask him, will say he is not one. And a non-recycler is still going to say they're not going to date a non-recycler because the guilt, they feel like they've done something good just in that statement. You know, when
The
it
only
comes
way to get it really a truthful survey, you got to hook people up to polygraphs or something, because a lot of
Yes.
people out of peer pressure, even to just a random caller, will lie about their behavior.
yeah, just to seem
because-
cool.
Yeah,
That's
they're like,
true.
oh, well, it's important that I appear cool to everyone. So
Yeah.
you got to hook people up to polygraphs. I mean, there's got to be a better way to do it to get a more accurate survey.
Yeah,
It's
I
true.
also would like to see the results of like, let's find the most attractive non-recyclers and see just how many people say that this is going to be the ultimate deal breaker.
Yeah, would you
Plus-
date Danny, guys? Look at
Plus,
Danny.
you don't
Danny,
know what my
you use-
recycling
what do you
habits
use
are.
on that. On
You
that,
don't know.
when you would go to the hot soup bar, would you take a plastic spoon or
bring
do
your
a
own.
metal spoon from home?
Bring your own metal
Oh.
spoon in your pocket.
Wait, use a plastic spoon from the. First of all,
Mhm.
whenever they have utensils, if the
Yes.
utensils are just thrown in willy nilly, utensils should always be put in, meaning plastic ones, handle spoon first. So the handle sticking out.
Yes.
Right? Because then
Correct.
everybody's just grabbing a handle. I won't take a spoon or a knife, whatever, if it's thrown in mix. It's like that. No, that's disgusting. Because
If
now
it's
people are
head to
trying.
foot and foot
Yeah.
to head.
Yeah, just like the tent. If it's thrown in
Except
like
for the
tent,
opposite. So you'll sleep in a tent that's head to foot and foot to head, but you will not take a utensil that's head to foot and foot to head.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. Because
got
that's anarchy in
Uh-huh.
the cutlery
It's-
department.
Yeah, but
It's
it's
gross.
order in the tent zone.
It works in the tent, but not in the cutlery bin.
Okay.
But by the way, most people, that's not the first question you ask. You're not like scooch up to somebody at the bar and be like, "Do you recycle?" And then like the relationship starts from that
I mean,
point
when's the
on.
last time you've been on a date?
Yeah, you're right. Things could have changed.
Yeah.
First, you're physically attracted to the person enough to
Mhm.
actually take a risk and go up to them. And during that honeymoon stage of the relationship, you are willing to overlook all sorts of things, maybe even up to serial killing. Ted Bundy had a lot of relationships.
You should, supposedly.
How much single-use plastic did he use, though?
Yeah, we don't know. But the thing is, what I'm saying is by the time you get to the recycling issue
Yes.
way down the road, you've already built up so much animosity and resentment for your partner at that point.
Yeah.
Because that's a far in the future discussion that it's like recycling is like, just throw that on top of the crap I won't deal with this person.
Yeah. I just think
And
people should, not make waste, but also let's not rule out, romantic partners on knee jerk.
And also, Rob, you made a great point. Why not quietly go about your recycling ways?
Uh-huh.
And that type of behavior can change somebody better than lecturing them endlessly about it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what? I don't use straws, or no, let's not buy any plastic bottles. You can have it. I just don't do it. And that type of stuff eventually it can change a person, and is a better way to do it.
You think so? So like when you go out to dinner and there's a vegan there who's like,
oh no, let's not talk about vegans.
Well, I'm just saying that trying to influence someone into doing something ends up being repetitive and annoying. I think there's better ways than even that.
Yeah.
Well, what would that be? Whispering in their ear while they're asleep?
Just being an example.
Plastic is bad.
Just being an example, and you don't have to talk about
That's
it.
what I just said. I didn't say talk about it.
You said
because it's going to come up in conversation. That's why you have to talk about it. Like, oh no, I don't need that, or whatever. Someone's going to offer you, when you go to Costco together as a couple,
somebody's going to offer you a straw, and you're like, actually, did you know that the Pacific
No, that's not what I said. Not lecturing, but you are going to talk about. You go to Costco, you buy a pallet. He wants to buy a pallet, or she wants to buy a pallet of plastic bottles. You're going to have a conversation right then and there. Like, yeah, you can get that for yourself, but I don't drink out of plastic bottles. That's what I'm saying. That's the conversation you will have to have. What a terrible date.
Costco.
Anyway,
pallet of plastic bottles. Who says romance is dead?
Yeah, dude. These Gen Zs and millennials, they know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
P.S. I know a millennial who before.
You do?
Yeah, believe it. Before he got married, he got a vasectomy because he's like, I know I don't want kids. He's like 19, and I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, but those are reversible. He's like, not the way I did it. And I was like,
what did he do? Microwave his balls?
Yeah. So I believe a 19-year-old is not even a millennial. That's Gen Z. So I'm actually surprised to hear that, because I thought that they won't even do a vasectomy on someone who is.
Well, remember, he said not the way I did it.
Yeah, did he do it in his own vasectomy?
I don't think so. But I was like, bro, that might be something you regret. He's like, no. And I was like, I guess you can always adopt, because there might come a time. I was like, because listen to me. I was like, this is what's going to happen. And you hopefully you already thought about it. You're going to be like 45, and hopefully you're still married.
Yeah.
But if you're not, You're going to be all alone. You're not going to have anybody because all your other friends that are now 45 have families and have moved on and are doing other stuff. And you're going to be all by yourself in your house. Doing what people who are all alone in their house. And he was like, yeah, I've already thought of that. And I was like, okay, as long as you thought of that.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised because that. So real talk, I like to be an open book on the podcast. So, I at one point I had gone to the doctor and I had inquired about getting a vasectomy
Before children.
No, this was like in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
and then I had talked it through with my doctor, and we were talking about it. But one of the things was, we had to have a meeting with my wife. My wife had to be there. She had to sign off on it because I think that people either they do it and they don't get consent from their spouse, and they wouldn't even do it unless I had my wife in there to green light the procedure.
So your penis is property of Nicole Sesternino.
Well, I believe it's the gonads that they really focus on.
Okay, so the gonads are property of Nicole Sesternino.
Yeah. But the reason that we didn't end up doing it was because I think then it was going to be an issue with that the health insurance didn't cover it. So that was going to have to pay cash. And I said, all right, well,
screw that.
We could get a triple pack right here, couldn't we?
I guess so.
Go in. We're influencers too.
I'm very surprised to hear that they would that any doctor would even perform a vasectomy on a 19-year-old.
Remember,
maybe he was bluffing Tyson. Maybe he went. Yeah.
Maybe he went to Mexico. Maybe he got the Mexico special.
Well, why couldn't he go on a 19-year-old?
Why couldn't they do that to a 19-year-old?
Yeah.
Because I think that you would feel like that a 19-year-old, that your views on starting a family would change. I think it's probably an unnecessary surgery to give somebody who is 19 years old, and that potentially they're going to have to reverse it should that young person decide they want to start a family.
Yeah, but kids get stupid tattoos all the time. That's kind of the same.
But a tattoo doesn't sort of like, unless it's a face tattoo. I think that could also be something that you should consider
you can't have a face tattoo until you're 48. That's the age that
probably should take like a cognitive test, like before getting a face tattoo. Some kind of test. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, he got a vasectomy before he was married.
Yeah,
the kid was like that certain of it that he was like, I'm getting a vasectomy. So it's not even a conversation.
I'm not certain of anything at any point.
That's crazy.
Some amazing confidence.
Yeah, you could tell me one thing now and I would tell you, and then in 6 months, my opinion would be completely different.
Yeah.
Like, remember how you politically have flip-flopped like ridiculous amounts, Danny?
Yeah, dude, I'd make a great politician. You're like, I can flip and flop like the best of them.
Yeah.
And up next, we will be talking about Big Brother right at the very end. So stay tuned.
No, we won't.
Okay. Let's talk about a man who was able to take advantage of a sports stadium luxury suite being abandoned. Over in Florida, a true Florida man.
Yeah,
nice.
Was able to live in the lap of luxury in Al Lang Stadium. Now, I've never heard of Al Lang Stadium. That I've heard of Raymond James Stadium where the Bucks play, but I don't know what exactly goes on at Al Lang Stadium. Apparently, that they're the home to the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And
the Rowdies.
The Rowdies.
Big fan here.
Yeah, everybody loves the Rowdies.
Okay.
So this man, was able to enter the abandoned stadium and live in a luxury box for 2 weeks.
Awesome.
How luxurious is a Rowdies luxury box?
I don't know.
I've been to a Dallas Cowboys.
No, not comparable. The Rowdies are not on the same level.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Tell me about going to the Cowboys.
The Cowboys luxury box. So I sat in DeMarcus Ware's private box at field level, and it was like a luxury studio apartment.
What's the connection to DeMarcus Ware?
Do you not know that?
No.
Him and I are like best friends.
What?
No, not best friends. His junior high or high school principal was Deborah Beebe, who I played Survivor with.
This is not even a Taj Eddie George connection.
No.
Yeah.
And then he had stayed in touch, him and his former ex-wife, both went to school so she knew both of them. And he had been watching Survivor Tocantins and invited us all out. We went to his house. We went and did all the behind the scenes thing at the Cowboy Stadium. It was field side, so you were like waist. The field was like at your waist as you were standing in the box. And then in conjunction with the box seats, you also had like front row 50-yard line seats in the stands so that if you needed a different angle, you could go up there. And so you could walk back and forth. And then I can't believe I never told you this story. This is crazy. So the night before, we stayed at the team hotel, and me and Rachel were sitting in the hot tub, and there were these like teenagers in there, and they were like,
"Is that the kid that was going to get the vasectomy?"
Yes. No, the kid. Maybe it was the same. So this kid was like, "Hey." He's like, "Are you here for the football game?" I was like, "Yeah." "Are you?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Cool. That's awesome." And we were just like talking to him. And then it came up and I was like, "Yeah, we're actually here with DeMarcus Ware." And they're like, "Oh, we're actually the grandchildren of the Washington Redskins head coach." And I was like, "Wow, that's cool." And so that's who they were playing. So while we were at the stadium.
What year was it? Who was the coach?
It was probably like, it was the first year of the new Cowboy Stadium. So it was probably like 2010, 2009.
That's like 12 Redskins coaches ago.
Yeah. So these kids ran across the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Ran around the field, gave me 2 field passes. And then I went and stood on the field while they were playing the game. I was standing behind the Cowboys bench.
Wow.
So
cool.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame, guys. That was too long of a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It was great. Yeah. The sports fans are very excited.
I mean, and we're going to get right back into Big Brother after all the
Can we
news.
talk about Nija?
Who's Nija?
Nija's the guy that got arrested and had a far more interesting experience than Tyson.
Oh, but okay. Yeah. So also, by the way, the Tampa Bay Rowdies are a soccer team.
Yep.
Oh.
I can describe exactly what their luxury setup is.
What is it?
You go in there. This is on a night where they're playing a game. You go in there. It's old office swivelly chairs. Yep. And then there's 2 crock pots, one with boiled hot dogs and one with boiled hamburger cheese. Patties.
Oh.
And then and the nacho cheese is not kept hot. There's a vat of nacho cheese, but it coagulates pretty quickly. And then once that stuff's gone, there's nothing in there, dude. There's a sink.
Tell me about the spoon selection there.
Handle out, right?
Handle out. Single-use plastic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He stole, by the way, this guy took $1,000 worth of Rowdy clothing. I imagine that was all the clothing in the stadium.
Yeah. $1,000 worth of Tampa Bay Rowdies clothing is what is that? 50,000 t-shirts?
Yeah, exactly. I hope we don't have any Rowdy fans listening.
Yeah. Rowdies.
He also consumed $250 in drinks, which means that he probably didn't get his hands on any alcohol.
Yeah,
that seems low.
So $250 of stadium drinks. So he had
soda.
5 beers?
Yeah, exactly.
5 beers or
didn't get much.
Or 20 Coca-Colas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
but you know what? It's like he was house sitting, keeping an eye on the place, making sure nobody was, creating too much problems.
Yeah.
When Tom Hanks lived in that airport, everybody was fine with that,
so
right?
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, this guy
so cute.
This guy totally
made a movie about it.
Impossible that he snuck in wearing custodian. He pretended he was a custodian.
Awesome. With a fake mustache and everything.
I hope so. He doesn't look like he has great mustache potential in his mugshot, so it would have to be fake.
Some MP.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, look. I mean, maybe there's some sort of way. Lots of cities have problems with homeless, no place to put them. Then you have all these big abandoned buildings that they need security. Could we somehow live in the building, make sure nothing bad is going on?
I don't think that's a good idea.
I mean, you'd have to get back
a lot of human waste and needles and.
Well, no, but there's toilets. There's toilets there.
Okay.
Who's paying for the plumbing?
Who's paying for the Paloma? I mean, you don't have to pay for all the security.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
They're
You
like
know.
professional house sitters.
Yeah, they are
You have
exactly
these
like
big abandoned buildings. They get to live here for free.
Yeah, they just have to be out 2 hours before a game starts, so cleanup can come in and clean out their
2
thing.
hours is enough to clean up after all these people.
After all these people,
I thought you were recommending lots of people live in these
every
abandoned
suite
places.
is going to have.
No,
Yeah,
you don't need
that was
somebody
the
in every
plan.
suite. You don't need somebody in every suite. You get 5-10 people. They live there for free.
Oh, then they get 5-10 people, and then they get 5 to 10 people. Next thing you know,
You're
guys,
running a
yeah.
You're running.
Hey, look,
an
if
MLM
somebody's creating problems, making a mess, they're out. But that's what these people are here to do.
no, I see problems with this plan. Sorry, Rob, not going to work.
Okay, all right. So, congratulations to this man who took over. He was king of the day of Al Lang Stadium.
Awesome. If he would have done like almost 7 more years there, he would have gotten squatters' rights and owned the stadium.
Owned Al Lang Stadium. Okay. We talked quite a bit about Legos. One of the worst places to have Legos is on the floor, Danny, where you get them stuck in your feet. Apparently, slightly not as bad is your nose, because that's a place where a young New Zealand boy kept a Lego for 2 years.
The story is interesting because I've looked for parts for my 7-year-old. Can't find that piece anywhere. I didn't even think to look in his nasal cavity. That's where they could all be.
So amazing that a New Zealand 7-year-old boy had been looking for a one Lego piece. What dedication to remember even that you were looking for this Lego for 2 years?
It had fungus on it when it came out.
Yeah. 2 years later, they find it. It was in his nose.
I don't understand how the nose works. I mean, up until recently when the COVID people jammed that thing all the way back into my brain, I guess there's a lot more room back there than I had previously imagined. So it used to make no sense to me how people are getting stuff stuck back there, like crayons, I don't know, heroin balloons, whatever. It's like, now I understand. There is like a huge storage unit behind each nostril. And
Did
it
this
can
happen
hold
on Big Brother
stuff.
Where was this again?
New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand.
Young man that he had
Lego
something
in his nose.
He complained, to his mom.
How many? Do we know how many nodules? Was it a
nodule?
double nodule, single nodule Lego, a 4-module Lego?
No, look at it. It's like one of those connector
6-pack.
pieces. It's not a regular Lego piece.
So it's a single module weird connector piece.
Almost looks like the hand. You know the hand? It looks like the hand thing.
If you had like a tiny Mr. Potato Head, imagine like a little black pipe for tiny Mr. Potato Head. That's what this looks like.
Dude,
it's small, Tyson. It's not. If you're looking to be impressed by what someone could put up their nose, this isn't the story for you.
No, but I bet this boy felt some relief when he got that thing out of his nose.
Yeah. Have either of you ever presided over removing an object from one of your children's nose?
No, my kids weren't big into nose jamming.
Yeah.
Bergen was never really big into it, but then she had a phase for like a little while. She put a blueberry up there, and we got that out. And then what else? She put a bead up there, and we almost thought we were going to have to go to the emergency room for the bead because we could not get it. And then I finally was just like, blow as hard as you can. And because she'll put them up there, and the second she puts it up there, she's like, I got some up my nose. This was like a few years ago. So since
by the way, clock's still ticking. I mean, we still have teenage years. Lots of time to put things back.
Clock room keeps on spinning.
Yeah, and who knows what's up there right now that we don't even know
that we never caught.
Yeah.
I'd check for contraband.
So
where are all the Legos, guys?
Yeah, where are all the Legos?
As long as they're not on the floor, I don't care.
Better in the nose than in between your toes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we did have, I believe Dominic put a pea up his nose, and then Nicole, like her nurse instincts really took over. I was in charge of like holding him down on the ground where he couldn't move. I had to like have him like physically like restrain his head. And then Nicole went to her medical bag and got like
forceps.
tweezers. Yeah, forceps.
Yeah. That's what we used. We used
to
some
go in
forceps.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem, the challenge here for those 19-year-olds with vasectomies, non-parents who, the challenge is you don't want to push the object further.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Ideally, if you could get some sort of like a nostril vacuum for these types of situations,
they have
ideal.
that. They have that to suck boogies out of kids' noses. What are those called? A nose Frida.
Yeah, like a bulb. You can get that also.
Yeah.
That's good. But again, you gotta be careful not to push it further up there.
You definitely do. Definitely. So, the relief, though, he probably felt like he had a sinus infection for so many years, and then all of a sudden, boom, everything is released. That's how, tell another quick story, because we tie everything into a story I've had. I found a dead cockroach in my ear, and I had had an earache for years and years. Not years and years. Maybe like a month. I said years and years because I was still thinking about this boy. This was in the Philippines when I lived in the Philippines as a Mormon missionary. I had an earache for a long time. And then one day in the mirror, I saw something like poking out of my ear. I grabbed it, and it was a dead baby cockroach covered in like earwax.
No.
And the second I pulled it out, instantaneous relief.
Orgasm.
Yeah, exactly. 17 orgasms in a row.
That is so disgusting and disturbing. But hey, your body works. Notice that it protected itself by covering it with wax.
Yeah, and choking it out. And then...
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, it was cool. So anyways, on the live feeds on Big Brother, I don't think they've had any of that stuff yet. But we are going to get to that
they have
stuff.
An ant problem a lot of times.
Yeah, they do.
Well, everybody has an ant problem.
Yeah. Not me.
Well, you will. Arizona's too hot for ants. They're catching fire the minute they come out of their hole.
We have fire ants here, dude.
Fire ants?
What's that like? A den of fire ants. So imagine like you're walking around in your flip-flops on your grass.
Okay.
And then people in Texas know about this, people in the South. And then all of a sudden, your foot feels like you stepped in fire. And you look down and there's hundreds of ants, teeny tiny ants with their teeny tiny jaws embedded in your epidermis. And then you have to brush them all off. The second you brush them all off and kind of cool off, unless you have a reaction to them, you're good.
Could you jump in a pool?
No, the best way, they stay attached. They lock themselves. The best way is just like grab your hand and just like rub them all off you real quick.
Okay. Tyson, you haven't weighed in on how bad is the heat this week? I know this is like record highs across a lot of the Southwest.
It's been hot, but we had an awesome storm last night. It's going to hit to 110 today, 110 tomorrow. Then it's going to drop all the way down to 105 by Friday.
Break out your sweaters.
Okay.
Yeah, I already have my jean jacket laid out on the bed, ready to go.
Okay. Let's talk about the story of, Facebook has all sorts of different places where like-minded individuals can find one another. No matter what your interest is, there's a Facebook group out there for you, including men who like to point loaded weapons at their genitals. Tyson, was this how that young man performed his own vasectomy?
I do not know if that's how. I don't think so. But that's like a thing is, you probably get a real rush from that. Yeah. So that's pretty crazy that someone not in the Big Brother house would do that. And it's a group. It's a whole thing. It's a fetish.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an adrenaline junkies. Are they wearing GoPros? Because it sounds extreme enough to like have GoPros strapped to their heads and everything.
Yeah, I don't think they have GoPros. I think it's like a loaded weapon in one hand, iPhone in the other. And on August 11th, one of the members of this group called Loaded Guns pointed at...
Why are you giving out this group name?
Okay.
Don't give it any more publicity.
Okay. So he posted a video pointing the gun at his genitals, and then brief pause, and then the gun discharges, according to this account from Vice.com.
So
which gun discharged?
It was a 45. He calls it in his quote, God's caliber 45 went through my scrotum, mattress, box spring, and floor. Originally, the man thought he just grazed his scroto, but a subsequent hospital visit told a different story. How do you think I just grazed it when you just blew a nut off? Like, oh, it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how are you making that mistake? There's a big difference between a graze, this is like a cut on the exterior, and then a full-on direct hit.
Yeah.
You sunk his battleship.
Yeah.
But instead of being chastised, this man is being celebrated in said Facebook group.
Do you think
As a
that this
hero.
was an attention ploy? Like, he's like, hey, you guys can
Did it on
do it
purpose?
and pretend I'm going all the way, baby. Got a little wasted and then was just like, I might as well, and pulled the trigger.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
that he's
he's
super
super
casual story. Yeah.
He's super casual in the way he describes it. He's not embarrassed. That's a bad sign. When you're not embarrassed by something like this, it makes me wonder why you did
but maybe he
Yeah.
is, and that's why he's lauded as a hero, because they're like that. This has happened to every one of us, and he's the first person to say and admit it.
He wrote, hey boys, I might have effed up. That's what he says. I might have. A clear, sane person would have been, I have definitely effed up. You don't write, I might have messed up after shooting a 45 caliber directly at your baby makers.
Because you would think, the message you would post is, guys, you know how we've been all pointing loaded guns at our gonads? Like, trust me, this is a mistake. That something terrible happened.
You know what, Tyson?
A PSA.
Tyson said something earlier. He said he talked about natural selection, and maybe this is just nature.
Another way.
Yeah, finding a way to take these people out of the gene pool.
Yeah. I mean, that could be, but you know what? Everybody has their thing, and if this is this guy's thing, as long as he's not hurting anybody else, or
as long as nobody lives below him.
Yeah, as long as he's on a first floor with no basement, or in the basement, then yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so you
Tyson.
feel like that? Yeah, as long as he's shooting his own.
I think it's probably illegal to discharge guns like that in your
inside.
home.
Yeah, in the city limits. No, not legal.
So I mean, as you have to follow all the legalities, and also, man, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if you're an adult. And this is your thing, is to aim fully loaded weapons at your nuts. Because Danny, you went through this same phase.
We all do.
We all do.
For me, it was an industrial stapler.
Mine was a crossbow. What was yours, Rob?
I do want to take this opportunity to promote a new Facebook group that I'm starting. It's for people who take large Legos and then put them like just outside of your nostril.
Oh, just like,
that's a good idea.
Just to see if it would fit, but you don't put it all the way in.
Yeah,
Tyson, mine is to hold a katana over it.
Wow.
Yeah. By the way, the crossbow, when you said the crossbow, that to me is so much worse than a gun. Like a cross, I don't know why. It's just, not only is it going to go through, but it's also going to pin you. It seems worse. Seems like that's as bad as it gets. A crossbow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Be good to check out the dating survey. How many millennials and Gen Xers would date a man who points loaded firearms at their nether regions?
I think they have a website where it's only guys and gals who point firearms at their genitals on this dating app. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. There's definitely probably a dating app for that. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend this, and I wouldn't recommend anybody do this anywhere or anytime. But like I said, Danny goes to Alaska and mixes it up with grizzly bears, and this guy points firearms at his genitals. Everybody has the thing.
Has their thing.
Yeah, I'm wearing beef jerky cod piece while riding my bike naked through.
Yeah. All right. Well, Danny, if you are looking to ward off predators on your next trip to Alaska, that maybe you should be thinking outside of the box. That's what some cattle ranchers have done in Botswana, as their cattle have been repeatedly attacked by lions and other predators. Somebody figured out the way to ward off predators is to paint eyes on the butts of cattle, because that way they'll think that they are looking at them.
I love it.
Yeah, you got this idea from butterflies, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I did read this article. It's pretty successful, but it hasn't been done on a huge group. It sounded like they don't have a ton of data on it, but from the small amount of data they do have, it does seem to ward off lions. We're talking about lions here when we're talking about predators. Seems like mostly in the article.
Yeah. Okay. I was just going to say,
lions.
Let's list all of the predators that Africa has. Like, if you're going to be a cow in the world, you do not probably want to be in the wilds of Africa.
Humans first and foremost.
Humans. Then you have lions. Then you have jaguars. Then you have probably cheetahs. Hyenas. Wild dogs. Maybe some big snakes. Probably other big reptilians.
They can be trampled by elephants. It's amazing that any cow survives the night in Africa. Like, you should be glad when you wake up and there's some of them left.
Yeah, I do love the eyes on the butt idea, though. If that's really working, then that's incredible, and it shows human ingenuity at its actual finest and most simple.
Danny, have you considered maybe on any of your pairs of Gong Show jeans sewing eyeballs to the back of the jeans
when you're jogging?
This is a good idea. No, I like this. Maybe more on my shoulder blades. You want to be intimidating. You don't want the eyes down there. You want them up high.
Why don't you get a set of the old No Fear logo with the eyes on it? Just get that tattooed.
Maybe that's why they came up with that. And maybe I will. This is, I would like to see how well this works. I don't think bears are going to be thwarted by a set of eyes.
You don't? They might be threatened.
You're not supposed to look at bear when they get aggressive in the eyes.
That's what I'm saying.
Promote it. Yeah, exactly. That's what you're saying now. It would get more aggressive. Be like, why does it keep staring at me?
Yeah, it won't not stare at me, but it will work against mountain lions probably.
Yeah, it could work against mountain lions, but mountain lions aren't really that big of a threat unless they're sick or super duper hungry.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't have that fear.
All right. Danny, are you ready to paint some eyeballs onto your bolt hole?
Yep. Let's paint them.
All right, here we go. All right. So Danny, let's take it away and get into Danny's bolt hole for this week.
Welcome to my bolt hole. I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna feel you belong.
Yeah. All right, Danny.
You know,
what do you got for us today?
Yeah, I actually had the cow story lined up.
Oh,
but there was something else I wanted to talk about. And we kind of touched upon it briefly. And it's the one thing you can't really
DeMarcus
escape.
Ware.
No, not DeMarcus Ware. I wanted to talk about
Big Brother.
How
Big Brother
hot it is.
Oh, how it's hot.
And how Death Valley has just recorded, which I had always heard that the highest temperature ever recorded on Earth was not in the U.S. You know, I'd always imagine it being in the Middle East somewhere, but hottest temperature on Earth recorded. Can you guys name where?
Death Valley.
Death Valley.
Appropriately named.
Yeah.
You already gave us a hint on that, though, Danny.
I know.
I feel like
it's just
Rob doesn't get points for that.
I'm going to give him points. So, do you know what that temperature is, though?
130.
148.
Yeah, no, 130 degrees. So 20 degrees hotter than what Tyson is currently experiencing. They have hotter temperatures recorded way long ago, and they don't trust those sources because, you know, who knows how they were recording them in the olden days, using like dark magic or whatever, probably untamed mercury.
Just licking their finger and
holding it up. But 130 degrees. And I was wondering, I mean, Tyson, you're pretty close. I would like to know what that feels like. And we both know it's a dry heat. So it's probably
so it's frigid, almost.
It's almost
almost
frigid.
frigid.
But
And
I just been thinking since I saw this headline, what would it be like to stand out in 130 degrees?
yeah, well, if you've ever been in a sauna, those are hotter than 130. But here it gets to 120, but I'm sure if you stand somewhere where the heat's being trapped in the corner of your yard or something, that it is probably,
yeah, that's true.
It's probably higher than 130. And I think I could walk around 130 for an hour and be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you brought up a good point, which was something else I thought about. It's 130 is the air temperature, right?
Correct.
But I don't know how they measure it.
Ground.
Yeah, but some ground is way more hot or way hotter than other parts, like the dark corner, directly getting direct sunlight, that dark corner. It's just going to be super heated. I bet you can find places in Death Valley that could cook frozen pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be so insanely hot. And I would be fascinated to just wake up in the morning.
Cook a frozen pizza.
Cook a frozen
Maybe that's the next adventure, Danny.
Yeah, but I don't know. A lot of cars catch fire. I mean, it's hard. We don't really have machines that can handle consistent exposure to 130 degrees, I feel like.
We
You're
have
driving Death Valley in your minivan, right? With your kids. It seems
Yeah.
like you're rolling the dice. Those kids may not make it to the other side of Death Valley.
You got to have water and a cell phone.
And a cell phone, but they'll be like, we can't rescue
service
you.
the whole way through.
Yeah, you're not going to have service in Death Valley. I know that for a fact. You don't
Okay.
have service in Death Valley. It's just, I hope they're not letting anybody into Death Valley at 130 degrees. That's just too hot.
We last week sometime had hit the most amount of days that we've ever had in the Phoenix Valley of over 100 degrees
Mm-hmm.
in a year.
And it was rejuvenating.
I'm just saying 2020 is not all bad. We just crushed a record over here. We're not even even three quarters of the way through the summer.
You've brought up a great point too. This is so on point for 2020, the hottest reliably recorded temperature on Earth, 130 degrees.
Breaking
records. Go to Death
records.
Valley. Now's not the time unless you want to experience 130 degrees. Maybe not go to Death Valley. Maybe wait until things cool down to 120, which Tyson makes it sound like that's fine. 120 can be comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not comfortable, but you just make do. It's like going out in the...
How can you even drive? Like the sunlight on the steering wheel, your dashboard is probably melting.
I mean, you have to strategically park your car.
I can't fathom the amount of sweat. Just sitting down, I'd sweat right through my pants. Then I couldn't go into any buildings.
Why are you wearing pants?
Well, my shorts, I'd sweat through my shorts. I'm just saying it's not the place for me, even with the dry heat. The amount of sweat, people would think I'd peed myself, it'd be that bad. Your back would always be sweaty. Your butt would be sweaty driving around. What a nightmare.
What a picture.
Maybe they should go out there, though, and I'm sure they're out there testing stuff, right? 130 degrees, that's a great opportunity to test things that you want to drive around on Mercury, I guess, if we ever get there.
You think we're going to Mercury now?
Why not? Venus.
Do you think this is a great opportunity for NASA to test that, like the Mercury rover?
Yeah, exactly. The Venus rover. Just get it out there. I mean, sure, there's a lot of pressure pushing down on the surface of Venus.
Is Mercury a dry heat too, though?
Oh, yeah. It's not moist.
Okay.
I'm guessing. So, yeah, I guess there is opportunity here. You always got to look at the silver lining. But for the rest of us, just avoid. I mean, it's called Death Valley for a reason.
Yeah. Okay.
And 120, guys, it's doable. It's like
with modern technology.
Well,
can you imagine being like a pioneer and like getting to 120 and being like, this is the worst thing I've ever felt.
In the shade, it's not 120.
It's 110.
Maybe 100, maybe something like that. But you can still, I mean, with some water, you can deal with it. So, yeah. But I prefer it to getting up in Utah at -10 and trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the day. I prefer to wake up and be like, your high is going to be 120. I was like, well, I know if I go out now, it's only 102. and so I can go out for a little while.
Okay. Well, let me end the show with some happy news about today is August 18th. Couple of national days that we're celebrating. National Fajita Day. Danny, when you order
I
fajitas,
love
they always,
fajitas.
yeah, that you could
Except for
just
the
head on out to
unwanted
Death
attention.
Valley, and then that they put when they put that plate down, they don't even have to say careful. It's hot. It's the same temperature as the air, so you don't even have to worry about scalding yourself when they bring you the fajitas.
That's nice.
I don't like.
That's
I
good.
love fajitas. I just don't like all the unwanted. Everyone's staring at that sizzling plate.
That sizzling
Oh,
plate.
what'd that guy get?
I just don't like. I don't want people
I'm gonna
looking
get
at me
those
and
too.
they put it down in front of you, and there's so many
That looks
dishes.
good.
It's just a giant spread. It's taking up half the table.
That's awesome.
Everyone at the table wants to eat some. Get a fajita when you're all alone at like 2:00 at the restaurant.
Okay.
2 o'clock in the morning or in the afternoon?
Afternoon. Yeah.
Okay.
Tyson, for you, today is National Ice Cream Pie Day.
I'll eat an ice cream pie, I guess. I mean, that wasn't on my agenda, but why was that for me? Just because I love sweets?
Yeah. Ice cream pie. I'm not sure if this is necessarily that you have a pie that's made out of ice cream or put pie on top, or I will put pie on top of ice cream. That would be new.
I've never heard of an ice cream pie. I've heard of ice cream cake, but not pie.
Ice cream pie. Is it pie and ice cream, or is the pie comprised of ice cream?
I think that this is put ice cream on pies, and then also I guess it's both things.
Because if
Tyson,
the
go out
pie filling was just ice cream, and so you have ice cream with the crust, that would honestly be pretty dreamy.
Yeah,
get out there and mukbang an ice cream pie.
One last national day. It's also National Happy Mail Order Catalog Day. Everybody,
that's for you, Rob, because me and Danny already got one.
Yeah. Okay. Happy National Mail Order Catalog Day for everybody.
Remember Sears?
Yes, getting all those magazines and mail order catalogs so you can order stuff and have it delivered in the mail.
Yeah,
okay?
Just fast track into the underwear section, have a quick look through before your mom gets home.
Boom.
And then put it back in the mailbox. Like,
do not order an ice cream pie in the mail.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Tyson, did you have that Big Brother update that you wanted to give us?
Yeah, but first I wanted to say that tomorrow night, Boston Rob and myself will be watching the first episode of Heroes versus Villains on Twitch and then talking about it throughout commentary, Rob and Tyson. And then we're going to move straight into our Survivor Trivia Night where up to 2,000 players can get on and play Survivor Trivia with us. So it's all starting tonight. Twitch.tv.
It's like a slumber party with you and Rob. You're going to watch a 2-hour show and then play video games?
We're only going to, I didn't want to spoil it. We're only going to watch an hour of the show.
Okay. The first hour or the second hour?
Probably the first hour.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to watch the first hour and then we'll watch the second hour next week. So, yeah, it's all happening. So
it's all happening.
Tune in tomorrow. You can follow us on socials to find out the times, but I think it's like 5 on the West Coast, 8 on the East Coast when we start. There's nothing else on TV worth watching at that time. So you may as well tune in.
Yeah.
Nice.
I saw a video clip of that there was a question about what sorority is Amber in, which I feel like it's a very tough question.
I didn't know it. I got it wrong.
Know. Any Survivor fan would know that. And then Boston Rob just was blatantly just
asked
used
Amber.
a lifeline. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, I mean, I crushed him. What happened was there were over 400 people playing. And I was in the top 5, in and out of the top 5 throughout the game and ended up taking 7th on Survivor Trivia, which is crazy. So this week I need to stay in the top 5 because that's all that's advertised on the screen while you're playing is the top 5. Yeah. So get your name there and stuck. But come play. It's awesome.
Okay. All right. Danny, would you be in the top 5?
Bottom 5.
Bottom 5?
Yep.
Okay. Guys, give out the URL. Did you give it out already?
I'll do it again. Twitch.tv/Rob versus Tyson. To watch Heroes versus Villains with us, you have to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. but it's free. And then to play the Survivor trivia with us, it's absolutely free. You just need a smartphone and a device to watch on as well. Because you plug your answers in on your smartphone.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Pretty cool stuff. And I think we're going to take probably a small break, and then we'll be right back here with some Big Brother updates soon-ish.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Stay tuned later. Stay tuned to this channel later on today for some more Big Brother updates. Danny, what do you have going on?
I never know.
Never know.
Anything can happen between now and next week.
That is true.
I do
If
zero
2020
planning.
has taught us anything.
Yeah, I just let it
Anything
happen.
Can happen.
I'm waiting with my fingers crossed and just hoping that the alien. I'm going big on the UFO thing.
That's
Hopefully
what you
that
want.
produces results. So yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, that stuff is coming out in dribs and drabs every week.
I know.
Danny.
I want the floodgates.
Nobody
to
pays
open.
attention to it. Yeah.
I want Storm 51 to see them aliens. I want it all.
Okay.
2020.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. We had a great time. We'll be back with more News AF next week. Of course, you can join us in our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/group AF to submit stories and
get all your Big Brother content.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
We did it, guys.